Hello everyone, welcome to English Classroom. Today we will deal with a poem of class 9. The name of the poem is Rain on the Roof, written by Coates Finney. In my previous video, we have discussed the complete detailed analysis of the poem. If you haven't gone through the video, first watch that video and then come to this one. In this video, we will discuss the theme of the poem, the message conveyed by the poem, the rhyme scheme, and the poetic devices used in the poem. So let's come to the theme of the poem. Yeah. The theme of the poem is the healing power of nature. The musical sound of raindrops falling on the rooftop at night has the ability to revive sweet memories and rouse fancies in an otherwise busy mind. The rain, being a part of nature, thus soothes and comforts an overworked mind by taking it back to its lovely past. So, the theme is the healing power of nature. Now, you may ask that, sir, this does not happen to us. Why only happened to the poet? Yes, there is an answer. Because if you want to feel nature, you have to feel one with the nature. You have to feel some kind of oneness with the nature. If you want to feel sunlight, if you want to feel the river, the trees, the birds, etc., everything, you have to be one with the nature. In this poem, the poet became one with the nature. That's why it worked as a kind of healer for the poet. Next, the message of the poem. The poem Rain on the Roof conveys the message that rain is Mother Nature's way of showing her healing and therapeutic properties. It leaves everlasting memories in the minds of humans with its presence, fragrance, and sound apart from the experiences of humans with it. The rain rejuvenates and refreshes the human mind by helping it to relive and recollect pleasant memories of the past. The same thing happened to the poet. Now let's come to the rhyme scheme of the poem. Okay, stanza 1. You can find in stanza 1, okay, we will look for the closing words of every line. In stanza 1, the words are hover, spheres, darkness, tears, pillow, bed, patter, overhead. So now what we will do? We will do some rhyming. You know what rhyming is. In your childhood you have read some rhymes, you know. So rhyme schemes. Hover, if you mark hover as A, then spheres, it does not go with hover. That's why you mark it B. Then darkness, again does not go with spheres or hover. That's why you mark it C. Then tears, it goes with the word spheres. That's why we mark it again B. Then pillow does not go with the previous words. That's why D. Then bed does not go with the previous words. That's why E. Then patter doesn't go with anyone. That's why F. Then overhead, it goes with bed. Bed, overhead. That's why E. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, D. Sorry, A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. This is the rhyme scheme. In stanza 2, you can find the same thing, the same pattern. Shingles, hurt, fancies, stirred, recollections, oof, patter, roof. The same pattern, A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. This is the way how we, you can say, how we can find out the rhyme scheme of a poem. The third stanza is the same pattern, A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. Let's move to the poetic devices used in the poem. Now stanza 1. Come to the stanza 1 first. Okay. The first poetry devices that is used in this stanza 1 is alliteration. Now, what is alliteration first? Alliteration is the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. Okay. So, in a line, if you can find the same letter occurring twice or thrice, you can call it alliteration. Example in this stanza, humid shadows hover. So, humid hover. H is repeating here, that's why alliteration. Then, stir is fierce. So, S sound is repeating. Then, press pillow. Press the pillow means, so P sound is repeating. Then, lie listening. So, L sound is repeating. That's what is called alliteration. Then, personification. So, what is personification? Personification is treating a non-living thing, non-living, inanimate object, as a living being. So, you are treating non-living thing as a living being. Means we are giving it the human attributes or human qualities. So, what is the personification here? Yes. In the phrase, darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. So, here darkness is personified and presented to be in melancholic mood and sheds tears in the form of raindrops. Actually, the people who are sad, they are shedding tears actually. Then, transferred epithet. The use of an adjective with a noun when it refers to another noun. So, here in this, you can say in this stanza, you can find some phrases like a noun with an adjective, okay, but that adjective is not for that noun, it goes for another noun. How? Look at it. Melancholy darkness. Here, darkness is the noun and melancholy is the adjective. So, here darkness is not melancholy, but it refers to the people who are sad in darkness. Okay, so darkness is not referred to. Who are referred to here? The people who are melancholic, who are sad in the darkness, they are referred to here. That's why it is called transferred epithet. So, one's adjective given to another noun. Then you can find onomatopoeia. Now, what is onomatopoeia? The words imitate the sound they describe. Means the words itself is the sound that something or some, you can say, some creature produces. Like you can find examples like whispering, like chirping of birds, etc. These are called the onomatopoeia. So it sounds like the original sounds. That's why it is called onomatopoeia. So here also you can find an example, patter. So patter is the use of sound word, patter. It is the sound made by the raindrops falling on the rooftop. So the word patter itself is the sound of the raindrop. That's why it is called onomatopoeia. Now let's move to the second stanza. Yeah. So first we can find again alliteration here. Okay, what is the alliteration here? Busy being. So here you can find the fourth line, busy being. Here B sound is repeating. Then you can find their air threads. So their thread, T sound is repeating. Then rain upon the roof. So R sound is repeating, rain, roof. Then you can find personification over here. Where you can find personification? Yes, recollection. The word recollection is personified when the poet says that they weave with the threads of air. So recollection cannot weave. Human beings can weave. So recollection is given the human attribute. That's why here recollection is personified. Then the transferred epithet again you can find here. The dreamy fancies. Dreamy fancies. Fancies are not dreamy here. It does not mean that the fancies are dreamy, but it refers to the poet who is dreaming. So in this stanza, the poet is dreaming, okay, and fabricating the fancies, fabricating the recollections, okay, not the fancies are dreamy. So here the epithet dreamy is applicable for the poet and not for the fancies. That's why it is called transferred epithet. Then again you can find onomatopoeia here. Which word? The word tinkle. So tinkle indicates the gentle and clear musical sound that a droplet makes. So the sound tinkle itself sounds like the gentle and clear musical sound of a droplet. That's why it is called onomatopoeia. Now come to the third stanza. Yes. Here only you can find only one poetry device, that is alliteration. Where? Yes. Memory, in my memory, my mother. Okay. In memory comes my mother. So memory, my mother. M. Here M sound is repeating. Okay. And again, darling dreamers, D sound is repeating. Okay. So that's all about poetry devices. So today we have discussed the theme of the poem, the message conveyed through the poem, the rhyme scheme of the poem, and the literary devices or the poetic devices used in the poem. Still, if you have any doubt, you can comment in the comment box, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.